Welcome back, and I've got another fun experiment for you today. What I want to try and explain is why, when you switch the indicators on in a car, do they make a clicking noise, and why do the bulbs flash? And you'll notice that Leica is not with us today. She's been off on her worldly travels, and more of that at the end of the video. So you'll all know when you switch the indicators on a car, the lights flash on the outside and you hear a clicking sound. And what I wanted to talk about today was what causes that clicking sound. Now, it may be slightly different on very modern cars, but on older cars, there was a thing called a flasher unit, and I've got one here, and I've connected two crocodile clips to it. And what I'm going to do is just literally put it in series with a lamp, and that represents one of the indicator lamps in the car, and connect it to a power supply. And what we'll do is we'll turn on the power supply, and let's see what happens. So, here goes, turn on the power. And you can hear the clicking sound from the flasher unit, and you'll notice the bulbs flashing too. In a car it's a fixed voltage. If we change the voltage, it can flash at a different rate, and if we make the voltage a bit low, it doesn't come on. So to try and explain what happens in car indicators and why they flash and click at the same time, I've built a very simple series circuit. So we've got some cells here, a battery, and electricity flowing through a lamp, through a piece of metal, and back to the battery. But what makes it interesting is this piece of metal here that joins the circuit between the two crocodile clips. So the bit of metal that joins the circuit is rather special. This you might have seen in one of my other videos. It's a bimetallic strip, and it does something rather unusual when heated. So let's switch the lamp on, light a Bunsen, and warm up the very end of the bimetallic strip. So I'll put a little bit of heat there, and you'll notice the lamp's gone off because the bimetallic strip has bent upwards. Now, in the car indicators, that heating is done on the bimetallic strip when the light is on, and then when the light switches off, the bimetallic strip cools and back comes on the light. Now, I've done it with a setup here so it's a bit slower so you can see what happens. But as soon as you switch on your indicators, the light comes on, an electric heater wrapped around the bimetallic strip is also connected, and as soon as it warms up the strip, it disconnects both the light and the heater, switching off the indicators. Now, because this happens much more rapidly, you actually hear clicking as the bimetallic strip comes off and on and off and on the contact. So there you see the light coming back on again as the bimetallic strip cools and straightens. And of course the process would then be for it to be reheated, but if you don't need your indicators anymore, you just switch them off. The heater wouldn't come on again, and the lights wouldn't come on again either. So what I've done here is I've just gone a little bit closer so you can see that when I heat the bimetallic strip, it bends upwards and out of the way, and that's what disconnects the circuit. There's a gap there between the crocodile clip and the bimetallic strip. So, I hope you all now know how an indicator or flasher unit works in a car. Inside here is a bimetallic strip. When you switch on the indicators, the heater around the bimetallic strip gets switched on, causes it to heat up, lift up, disconnect the circuit. As soon as it cools down, back it goes on, reconnects the circuit and the heater, and the process continues until you switch off the indicators. Now, it's worth me mentioning just before we finish that the bimetallic strip in here is designed in such a way that when it's heated, it flicks away very quickly, and then when it cools it flicks back very quickly. It's very bistable, and so as it flies back and makes the contact, you actually hear a click, and you hear a slightly different sound as it lifts off, but the general effect is click, click, click. But if you listen carefully, you might hear the slight difference. So, I hope you enjoyed that video. I'll be doing another one soon, and I look forward to seeing you then.